pounds. For those of you that follow college wrestling, and even for those that don't, you'll be looking now at Cael Sanderson. At 184 pounds for Iowa State, has never tasted defeat as a collegian. Even Dan Gable could not make that claim. Guys, he's going up against Daniel Cormier, really one of the athletes in the NCAA that does have a legitimate shot at pushing Cael Sanderson. He hasn't done it so far this season. Sanderson right in on the leg of Cormier right off the bat. He's not going to play cat and mouse.
Well, Sanderson is just expert at the leg attacks, and you mentioned about Sanderson's record, but Cormier is one of the few guys that have gone the distance with him and not given up bonus points, lost by more than 8 points. So they've been close matches.
A decisive finish there to the takedown attempt for Cael Sanderson. And go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say they've been close matches, but not close technically. Close score-wise, but there's been a little bit of a difference there between the two. Here you see Sanderson on the leg attack, sweeps. Beautiful finish, Kendall.
Absolutely. Well, Kendall, what do you think about that kind of a finish in relation to international style wrestling, where we may see Cael Sanderson down the line?
Yeah, he really is. I believe he's the future of USA wrestling. I can't imagine it. We wouldn't see him in the next couple of Olympics. You know, I think it's what he chooses to do. If he stays in the sport, however long he stays in, he's probably going to be the man at that weight.
Well, you know that the United States is hosting the World Wrestling Championships in freestyle Greco and women's in New York, September 26th through the 29th. You could very easily see Cael Sanderson in there. There's a lot of competition at that weight class, but you know, if you wanted to plan a vacation ahead of time, I'd just block out September 26th through the 29th, or actually June 22nd through the 24th in Cincinnati for the World Team Trials. Both of those dates, you're going to see the highest quality wrestling that the United States and the world have to offer.
You know, people talk about Cael Sanderson and what makes him different, and I think this is the thing that makes him different. He disguises his lead leg. He shows that right leg as the lead leg the whole time, all right? And when he goes to shoot, all right, he changes around. So there's his lead leg. He disguises it, and when he actually goes to shoot, he throws his left leg forward, as he did in that instance right there. He's almost ambidextrous on his shot, but he shows one leg forward and then comes back and attacks with the back leg. And so far, the rest of the competition hasn't been able to keep up with it.
And Jim Gibbons, Rasputin-like call there for you at home.
So, Jim, as a successful coach, former successful coach, what would be your strategy against somebody like Cael Sanderson?
If you look at his technique there, there's the leg I was talking about, the one he disguised. Came up with the left leg, drives right through. I don't know. I really haven't. I've tried to come to terms with that. You've got to recognize when he sneaks that left leg forward, his left leg forward, he's coming for the shot. So you've got to maybe try to create more lateral motion, going side to side, and see what you can do to get in on his leg.
Brought back to the mat with authority, Cael Sanderson bringing Daniel Cormier into position.
You know, he's so much, you know, Dan Gable won on kind of a power style, get on top, bar arms, and that's basically the way that the style was. Cael Sanderson is the excellent scrambler. You know, he's got the whole scramble package, whereas John Smith was kind of the lightning strike, you know, motion out in front. So, you know, I consider him obviously one of the you know, potentially one of the great ones with what's ahead of him here. But it's like he's doing it a different way. He's doing it his own way.
That's true. He's got his own style. He's not copying anybody. He's out there doing his own thing.
There's John Smith, a 6-time consecutive world champion. A couple Olympic championships in there. We were just mentioning his style. And for those of you on the Cael Sanderson watch at the NCAA, number 2 ranked wrestler at this weight is Nate Patrick. Number 4 ranked Damian Hahn from Minnesota. And I don't know if it really matters.
It always matters when you get to the tournament. You, of course, know that, Larry, but it's just that what's going to be the wrestler? What are going to be the qualities of the guy that beats him, and what will that match be like? I just can't wait to see.
Yeah, I remember seeing Lincoln McElravy, you know, who was dominant in his weight class for so many years there in college, go through a loss, a pretty devastating loss as a junior, I believe it was, and he was pretty, you know, one of the dominant ones. I don't think he's quite what a Cael Sanderson is right now, but it certainly was an upset, and a major one at that.
Well, somebody believing right now that they have the opportunity to make history and to beat a guy like this. I mean, you remember hearing the stories about Larry Owings, how, I mean, he cut down to, he wanted to wrestle Gable. I mean, that was his approach. And if there's somebody out there that has the potential of making history, they'll have to go through this man to do it.
That's right. And he will bring his team into second place if he wins this. Right now, it's Oklahoma 65, Oklahoma State 64, Iowa State 64 and a half. So if things go on as they are.
There you see, he's showing the right leg again. That's his lead leg. Now he comes back, he switches it off. And that's just getting people, they just haven't figured that out yet.
Frustration on the face of Daniel Cormier.
The thing is, Cormier is a very fabulous wrestler himself. He's just, against Sanderson, against the Cael Sanderson, he just doesn't look it.
And you watch Cael Sanderson wrestle, you'll see him deep on ankles with guys standing straight up more times than any other wrestler you'll see out there today.
And Sanderson, what a balanced wrestler, good in every phase of the sport, and right now displaying it in the top position.
I think this is where he's improved the most this year, is in the top position.
Both wrestlers reached the finals by virtue of falls. Daniel Cormier with a big throw and trip in the semifinal. To watch him wrestle any other athlete, you'd think that he could be Cael Sanderson, essentially, because he really is a great athlete. But then when they get on the mat together, you see that there is a distance between the two.
That's true. I've heard John Smith speak very highly of Cormier, talking about how where his abilities are, and then he has a chance to possibly beat Sanderson. But it's obvious that this is, this is not close.
Into the second period, 6-3 in favor of Cael Sanderson with riding time, which he cannot lose. It will be essentially 7-3. Cormier with his chance on top. The release now 7-3 on the scoreboard. I think that Cormier would like to get a little momentum for the NCAA tournament with the takedown.
Well, Cormier's strength is upper body. He had a beautiful lateral drop, almost back-to-back type technique in the semifinals to get the fall. And he can throw. But there again, the question, that's his brother Cody Sanderson here taking photos.
What was interesting at the semifinals was that Cormier threw his opponent and pinned his opponent, and it was like Sanderson looked over at the other mat, and within 20 seconds he'd pinned his opponent, rolled him up like a bug, and he'd scored his fall as well. Now battling a deficit of 4 points on the board, 1 minute and 8 seconds left in this match at 184 pounds, Big 12 Conference Wrestling Championships. A bit of history being made every time Cael Sanderson walks out on the mat. He'll be 114-0, I believe, at the end of this match, if it continues in the manner that it is right now.
There's the first real.
Cormier certainly is taking his shots here, just not able to get anything going. It's going to take a big move here. Don't really see it happening just because he can't get to him at all.
I think when you watch Cael, you watch his footwork. He just keeps the weight on the balls of his feet. As I mentioned before, he comes with that shot. He comes with the back leg.
I am so impressed with the quality of the strategy and the technical abilities of Cael Sanderson. 15 seconds left now in this match. He really isn't one to coast at the end. And
no, that's right, Larry. He's still going. He's got a lead. He's going to win the match, but he's still shooting. Still going. Never quits.
And there you see it. The final score, 8-3 in favor of Cael Sanderson. He is, again, the Big 12 Conference Wrestling Champion for Iowa State. That moves them